Okay, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie, it is your boy Retro in the building with you on today. And I just want to hop on and talk to you guys. You already know what it is, man. We like to get on here and chit chat with you. Um, Normally we're recording in the what do you call it, portrait mode. Today we're trying to do it in landscape mode and just kind of play around with a few different things, see a couple different things. But what I want to talk about is the fact that we have brung Ruby Red back into the lab on Sunday evening and changed out our bars. So I'm sitting at a complete different position, uh, and it's pretty cool. I like it. I threw on some 18-inch bars and got my hands up a little bit. The problem that I was having was when I go live, excuse me, when I go on a long ride, I'm feeling it. I was feeling it in my shoulders. I had some meat hooks on. They were only 12-inch, and they were cool. What I did like about those is the fact that they were larger in diameter. So it was a beefier look, nicer look in my opinion. In the comment section, if you would, let me know what's your preference of handlebar. Again, I was running some 12-inch meat hooks. They kind of came up with a little peak there. But for some reason, it began to date itself, and I don't know. I just kind of grew tired of it. Outside of the fact that whenever I would, I think I'm gonna take the, I think I'm gonna hit the interstate. Besides the fact that when I would take long rides, my shoulders and my upper back would feel the discomfort. Okay, so I said I got to put something higher on, and I ended up. I was really beginning to be. I was leaning toward those pullbacks, right? I think I forget what they call them, but they're cool bars. At first, I didn't like them, but then they started growing on me. And one day, I was at the shop. Customer came in. He had some on his bike. I had to pull the bike in for service, and I was like, "Oh, wow, these are actually pretty comfortable." Because they pulled the bars, they came right back into your chest almost. And so the thing about those bars, other than the fact that the look itself started to grow on me, and I started kind of becoming a little bit fond of the look, um, they were intentionally um, they benefit the long ride rider. Okay, and so the reality is, when I'm on the interstate doing a long ride, I'm in a different posture. I'm in a different, I'm just, I sit different on my bike. If I'm around town, I'm a little bit more defensive. I'm in that position to, maneuver if something pops out in front of me. But normally when I'm on the highway, my feet are on the highway pegs, and I have an adjustable backrest. So I hit that button and I lean that thing as back as far as I can, and it's like I'm in my living room recliner, right? But with my bars that I had, which were only 12-inch, and they were pretty much straight up, I'm reclined back, but my arms are stretched trying to still maintain control of the motorcycle. So I found myself hitting the cruise control and just chill, right? But and even though that's nice to be able to kick back and chill, again, if something comes in the road or whatever, the time for you to get back in position to grab those bars and maneuver could be life and death. So so those pullbacks, they get the bars back right there on you, and you're nice and comfortable. In a parking lot, different things like that, turning and maneuvering, maybe not so good. I'm sure you probably get used to them over time, but anyway, I didn't go with those bars because for two reasons. Um, Number one, I got a smoking deal on the ones that I got, and number two, even if I like something, a lot of times I'll tend to stay away from it because I don't want to be like everybody else. I don't want to do something, just because everybody else is doing it. And I know you said, well, it's your choice. You do what you want. And yeah, that's true, but I don't even want to be considered doing something just because everyone else is doing it. So I ended up going with a pair of bars. I don't even know the name of them. I got a smoking deal on them. A guy had purchased them. They were still in the packaging and everything, and I think he either went a different route or they wouldn't work on his particular year, make, and model. So again, he gave me a smoking deal on them, and I put them on. And so far, so good. They get my hands up there, and the bigger bar, to me, maybe I'm a little off, but it feels like it gives me a slight advantage of maneuvering my motorcycle. True story. Um, my curves feel a whole lot more smoother when I'm maneuvering. But again, let me know what's your preference of handlebar, your style, size, even. Some people can't go with the 18s and 20s because whoa. Because I don't know if you guys saw that or not. I'm gonna replay that in slow motion. It was a big old bug. Thank God it didn't go inside my visor. But yeah, you can't go with 18s, even though they look cool, but they're not practical if you got little people arms. You know what I'm saying? So that's another situation where a lot of times people will do stuff because it's quote unquote cool, but is it practical? You say, yeah, it's very practical for them, but is it practical for you? You know, so what style of bar are you running? What's your preference? What size bar? And why did you go with that size bar or that style of bar? Okay, you'd be surprised how many people do things because everyone else is doing it, and not even realize that that's their major reason for doing what they did. It's so easy to get caught up in the hype. I know this guy. When I bought my Harley, my first Harley, it was a street glide. But I wanted to get the road glide. But it was a sweeter deal on the street glide that they had in the showroom that particular day, and it made financial sense at that time to just get the street glide, right? So I said, well, it was my first Harley. It was still a nice bike, and I enjoyed the heck out of that bike. That was a great bike. And but anyway, my plan was to get the bike. I had a few things going on, a couple investments I was trying to get done, and I was like, as soon as this goes through, I'll just go back and get the road glide, because that's ultimately what I wanted to get. And anyway, this dude that I know, he was a street glide guy. He swore by street glide. He gave people on road glide a hard time until he started rocking with people who were all on road glides. And then next thing you know, I got him a big, bright, shiny road glide. And but my point is, sometimes people do things only because everyone else is doing it, and not so much because it's who they really are. Let me tell you something, folks. Don't let social media get you caught up, because people ain't always who they supposed to be. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? People post all kind of posts, act like they got money that they don't got. Look at here, man. I'm a biker on a budget, and I use the word biker loosely. But let me say it this way: I am biking on a budget. I ain't telling you that I'm broke. I ain't up here with no pro mouth either. But I'm on a budget, so I'm not gonna go out here and spend money on something that I ain't got to spend money on, especially when I can do it my doggone self. All right, now, Mr. 18, well, I'm going to need you to hold your lane, and I'm going to hold my lane, and we're going to continue to be friends if we both keep up our end of the bargain. How about that? Y'all pray for these truckers out here, man, that they get rest and stay out of my lane and stay in their own lane. I can't even flip it around, guys, because of the position of my bars, and so that's something that I gotta work out and get that together. But yeah, people ain't who they supposed to be, and I don't know about you, but I refuse to try to come across as though I'm someone or something that I'm not. Now, I will say this, and I don't know if you will or maybe you won't agree. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. Tomato, tomato. But what I will say is this: I am not responsible for your perception of who I am. Let me see if I can say that one more time. I am not, and I repeat, I am not responsible for your perception of who I am, okay? Because here's the deal: one's perception is one's reality, but your reality is not necessarily a truth. Now, I got this guy in this Honda Odyssey that need to just get on out of my way. We got an oversized load to my right. He's carrying a double wide, or is it a single wide? It's Nah, that's a double wide. You know, guys, I don't know where you're watching from, but I've never seen, until I moved to the South, you know, is when and where I begin to see so much moving of homes. I'm not saying they don't do it in the North, but they do it so frequently down here in the South. And you can see it right there. He's got a full-blown double wide and moving that thing. Maybe it's an oversized single wide. I don't know. It's huge, and that trucker is moving. I wonder how much he's making for that load, hauling that load. But anyway, people ain't who they supposed to be. I'm not responsible of your perception of who I am. They say there's three sides to every story, right? Yours, mine, and the truth. So let's look at that concept and apply it to your perception of people. All right. Now you can perceive me to be one particular way. You may say I'm conceited, right? And that used to burn me up, man. When I was in my teens, you know, that was the last thing I wanted to hear, you know, because I know that that's not who I am, you know. And but you may say that based on your perception, and your perception is going to be governed, it's going to be even tainted, and possibly even ruled by previous experiences. Okay? Now, here you are just now meeting me, and just because I have, I don't know, similar traits to someone that you knew that was conceited or whatever, doesn't mean that you have a right to perceive my actions as what your previous encounter meant to be or whatever, if that makes sense. And so, in order to dispel that perception, or in order to correct that perception, let's say that, or maybe let's go out on a limb and say to solidify that perception, right? Now, if you perceive me to be a certain way, then you know what? Maybe an interaction or a conversation could solidify or dispel that perception. In other words, you can have a conversation with me not based on what you think, but just to collect data, just to get to know me. And then you could either determine that, okay, that is correct, what I felt, or it was totally incorrect, what I felt or what I thought about retro. You know what I'm saying? So before you, close the book on a person, maybe you should open the book on the person and have a daggone conversation. The Bible says, now, have we quoted the Bible yet? Well, let's do that. The Bible says, come, let us reason together. It doesn't say, come, let us talk and I reason, but it says, come, let us reason together. So that means there's got to be conversation. We got to talk, right? And then together we reason. Together we come to a conclusion. Let me say that again, because sometimes we come together and we talk, but I come to a conclusion based on my own thoughts and not yours. I don't even let you play a role or a part in the coming to the conclusion, okay? And that's a major no-no, because we think that we're following Scripture, but in all actuality, we're partially following Scripture. We've come together, right? We're communicating, but we're not reasoning together. Now, when we reason together, I may say, you know what, man? If we're going to go to New York, we should take 77 to 81 to 84 and you know, or whatever. Or if we're going to Connecticut, and then you may be like, nah, man, that's the wrong way. That's the long way, or that's the this way. That's boring, or whatever. Let's just take 40 to 85 to 95, and then we can, you know, we get right on into Connecticut that way, you know, and we can sit here and go back and forth. But if we're going to reason together, then I can offer some insight on my experience on taking 77 to 81 to 84. And then you could offer your experience on taking 40 to 85 to 95, right? And then we can, together, we can conclude that, you know what, maybe we ought to go this way, or maybe we ought to go that way, based on the time of year that we're leaving, based on the time frame that we have, and based on some things that we may want to do along the way. If you want to do more things along the way, then maybe we might take 40. We get to ride through Greensboro, and we get to ride through Raleigh, and and then we hop on 85, and we get to just stop in this place in Virginia or whatever, and 95, and we can stop in DC, and there's so much more to see along this route versus taking. And so anyway, that's just a quick example as to some of the benefits of us not just coming together and not just talking, but reasoning together. All right, because based on your reasoning, it may affect my reasoning. So we just got to do it together, guys. I don't know if that made sense. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If not, then I'm just mumbling in vain, which is all good. I definitely want to get this set up to where, and I think I know what I'm going to have to do. As a matter of fact, my other phone, I got an Android that works so much better when it comes to certain things that I need to do. But it was dead. Couldn't find my charger because I've got another mount right here on this handlebar that it will fit in, and it will be positioned where I can flip the camera around and show you the road while I'm traveling, because I'm sure you don't want to see my ugly mug during this whole chit chat. You know what I mean? But I want to say thank you for the couple of people who have hopped on and pressed play. I want to say thank you very much for those who have hit the subscribe button and have subscribed to our channel. I've got my little setup, and Retro's radar is in full swing, so we are looking for bikers while we're out here on the highway and byways. And if we come across you, man, we're going to hit that record button, and you will be on an episode of Retro's Radar, okay? Now, we have a major ride planned. The end of August, we will be launching out, leaving from North Carolina, heading to Canada. Now, here's the deal. What I'm doing is I'm going to do the the SCMA Three Flag Classic. This is their 47th annual Three Flag Classic. The issue is registration has already closed, so I've missed the opportunity to actually register for the ride. Registering for the ride will allow me certain I guess benefits or goodies or whatever. I know there's a cool belt buckle that you are awarded at the end of the rally, and a few other things, banquet and all that kind of stuff. If for whatever reason they're not able to allow me to register late, I will probably still do the ride anyway, because the ride is the prize. So I'll probably still do the ride, but the route that I'm looking at, it will almost literally take me to three corners of the United States. The only corner that it will not take me to is Maine. Now, I've already been to Maine, so I have the whole eastern, states, all those states. I have those. It's the out Midwest and further west that I'm missing to complete my 48 states. I'm not trying to do 48 and 10 or anything like that. Just for my own personal accomplishments, I want to be able to say I've rode all of the 48 states. But this trip is not about that. But since I'm going to be so far, I'm like, you know what? I could easily hit, Washington, California, which I'm going to hit those anyway, and then Miami. Well, not Miami, but I think Key West is the fourth. Is one of the corners anyway for the four corners of the United States, and then it's up in Maine. It's the fourth one. So I'm thinking about leaving early, maybe a day or two early, so that I can boogie on up to Maine and grab that corner, and then head on out and get the rest. Now, I believe it is the IBA, I believe it is, offers a certification and a pass for that. But y'all already know what it is, right? Mission 448. I'm kind of doing my own thing, and I don't have a problem supporting somebody else's thing, but, I mean, it's almost like you got a restaurant that serves soul food, but you go across the street to the other soul food store every day. I don't know. maybe that's not a good way to explain how I feel about this thing. But what I will say is this: support your boy, man. Kingdom Alignment Motorcycle Ministry, the Retro Philosophy Show, Mission 448. Okay, ride the four corners of your state. Get at your boy. We'll give you the registration details or link anyway, I should say. And for North Carolina, that's what the patch looks like. The NC Four Corners, beautiful ride. And I'm not against anybody else's thing, but I'm saying, how about we support our folks? That's what I is saying, and I'm trying to say it as loud as possible. And sometimes the loudest way to say something is not with your volume, or I should say, is not with the volume of your voice. All right, ladies and gentlemen, saints and ain'ts, everybody, including Lottie Dottie. So that's what we're planning on doing, guys. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do the. I will more than likely leave out early enough to hit Maine, which will, of course, add at least 2-3 days to my originally planned trip, which is not necessarily a big deal. I have a very supportive wife who is on board and is even encouraging me to do this ride. I don't know where I got her from, man, but she's amazing. She really is. So I'll hit Maine and stop and see some family on the way and some friends. And if, for whatever reason, they are not able to let me in on the registration, I'm still going to take this ride because there's so much to see and do. Hey, guys, I'm hungry. If you don't know me, man, look here, I'm always hungry. So I'm going to go in here to the Awful Waffle and get me something to eat. And then I'm going to head over to my assignment for the day, my second assignment for the day. And thank you for following me. Thank you for chit-chatting. And if you're not a subscriber, do me a favor. Hit that little red button and subscribe to the Retro Philosophy Show. Y'all be good.